before I realized that at the age of 15 that I had to do art, because before that I was really pragmatic. I was like, oh yeah, I can make art, but you don't make any money. And then I was going to be an art historian and become the director of the Boston Museum of Fine Arts. And then at 15 I realized I hate to write papers. I hate it. And I've got this like gigantic ego in here about my art, and I must obey. So I went off to college to study painting. And so I wanted to start off with this drawing, which I did at 17. And this was of a boyfriend, and I made him look much better than he was. And this... and the thing about this picture, this is kind of like a seed of everything else that I've done since. So I wanted to start off with this. First of all, by the time I was 13, I could draw realistically whatever I saw. And so, so I loved I loved technique. But then it's like, well, you've got the technique. What do you do with it? And how do you develop yourself as an artist? And I'm a very emotional person, and all the art that I like, I have to have some sort of gut-wrenching attraction to it, and then I love it. And if it's just like abstract art, nothing to look at, no brushwork, it's like I can't deal with it. I hate it. And so this is like, and I've always really been into the Brontes, and so Heathcliff. And so Heathcliff is like kind of a running theme in my work. Whoops. Oh dear. Oh, you warned me. Oh, I'm sorry, people.
They'll keep it from going over.
Okay, so at any rate.
I'll get it going.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Maybe I should just like hold it. Okay. Okay, so we skipped many years to 1993, and so during all those years I did lots of different things. I love Hans Holbein. I think he was the greatest Renaissance artist, Henry VIII's, guy. And, I love early Renaissance. I love Roman. And ever since I was a little kid, I've always loved people and the figure. And I didn't care about anything but that. Okay, so and so between this time and that time, I was busy being, and my other great love is Francis Bacon. So, you've got the really, really, really tight, linear, beautiful perfection, and then you've got this angst and great brushwork, at least the early Bacon. So I was doing that, and then in 1993, I accidentally saw a hockey game, and I was like, oh my God, that's like Roman gladiators. It's medieval knights jousting. It's so sexual. It's so weird. And so I landed up doing this series, and I realized I need to do realism. So I came back to my true self, which is a realist. So this, I love art history, and I think it's, it was kind of really hilarious to me that, this is based on the God figure in the Ghent altarpiece by Van Eyck, and really pared down though. But I started looking at all this Renaissance art in terms of hockey players, and I was compelled to do it. I didn't know why, but it amused me, and I just knew I had to do it. And so then it turned out like, well, this is just the way I work. It's like I'm compelled to do somebody. I'll see somebody and it's like, I have to paint them. And so later on, it turned out like, oh, well, this is definitely about the, celebrity worship, and, and these are like beautiful men and blah, 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 and these are the aristocrats, and, so I'm like Hans Holbein doing hockey players. So this was 1993. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a few of the, some of my older pieces, just so you know where I'm coming from. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so.
We'll have to keep those images moving. We're coming.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Hold on. We're going to find that somewhere. Ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Wow. The devil. So here I am. This is my favorite of the hockey pieces. It's like, oh, I'm painting like a Renaissance master. Yes. Okay.
Wait a second. Oh, now that's the cord coming out. Oh, good.
Oh, okay.
It's you.
Okay. So another of my favorites. And I'm going to show you, like, favorite paintings. Okay. This is another theme in my work. It's musicians. I love them because I just love intensity. And this was a friend that I just saw her like this. And I was like, oh, my God, I have to paint her like that. So that's what happened. My favorite band, the Dukes at the moment, Duke's Spirit, they're really intense. And what I loved about this was the sweat stain and just the suggestion of the guitar. And with this, it was like, I was so proud of myself. Like, I just love it when I'm painting and I get it just perfect. I mean, Holbein, the perfection. And so this was one of those paintings where I was like, I'm a fucking genius. And this is the lead singer in the band, who's amazing. And I just love strong, dynamic women singers like Patti Smith and Susie and the Banshees and Leela Moss from the Duke Spirit. Okay, and this is my neighbor across the street. So this is kind of like, oh, and a lot of the people, a lot of these images are just like images of me, my alter egos or whatever. And okay, and I'm also an astrologer, and I love archetypes, and I use that in the ice hockey things. Well, this is Pluto, the god of the underworld. He's come up for Persephone. He's like, where are you, darling? It's time to go back down. And this is in Pluto's realm, the primal scream. And this is Neptune, young Neptune. This is old Neptune. And this is my dad. And he's nautical. And so his wife had this like green velvet throw, and so I put it around him with the tassel on top, and then I got a toasting fork I found in England and posed it with him, and so that's my favorite. That's my dad. Okay, and then from Dad's beautiful blue eyes to my eyes and my eyewear, which is a big theme in my life. I collect, and thanks to my dear husband, and I had skin cancer. So that was an operation, on both sides of my nose. And my face just swelled up, and there were all these amazing colors in there. And
You have to paint it.
I had to paint it. And the minute I finished it, a friend of mine bought it. I'm like, wow. Okay, this is my Fight Club alter ego. That goes back to the first drawing. It's like, I just love that arrogant, don't mess with me, you asshole, kind of thing. So, and this woman is just incredibly beautiful, and I just, she's like the perfect alter ego for me. Okay, animals. That was our bulldog when he was a baby, and I just love that picture. And look at that eye, isn't that gorgeous? And this, I think, is my all-time favorite painting. This is my darling husband and muse, young Michael Jones over there. And our first bulldog, and this was their relationship. And I always wanted to do like a series, from college I wanted to do a series of male nudes from a woman's point of view. It's like, I am so sick of the female body done by men. It's like, it's time for us, to get a little bit of art action in. So the thing about Michael is, whenever he poses for me, there's always a bulldog there. And Michael is my ideal muse, because I love lanky, sinewy guys. And one of the most, I think the sexiest thing about Michael is this amazing neck. And then look at those elegant lines, and he's just so beautiful. And then there's the bulldog, who's also very linear and elegant, emotional. This was a dog I saw in Ireland, and I had to do this picture, and I just love that picture. Okay, now, for many, many years, I didn't draw. I just painted, because you have to frame drawings. That's expensive. And here I was, poor starving artist before I met Michael, and and he's my patron, Vincent and Michael. And also all this time, I was just working by myself. None of my art friends were figurative or realist. And I just felt like I was a cave girl. And, I'd have other artists come into my house, and they'd completely ignore what I was doing. And I was like, this is ridiculous. So about 6 or 7 years ago, I met the amazing realist painter, John Swihart. And there's a whole community of amazing realist artists. And John has monthly soirees where one artist will show their slides for 45 minutes. And so they also had a weekly drawing group going. Well, I joined the group, and I came back to my love of drawing. To me, drawing is magic. Just like getting that perfect line or making those marks. And so I'm going to show you a series of drawings over the last 2 years. And so I got to the point where it was like, I'm tired of drawing in black on white. I have to get colored paper, and I had a set of pastels that had been sitting there in my studio for 15 years unopened, and I decided, okay, I'm going to get blue paper and draw with orange on it, because that would be like drawing in black and white. And so this was my first attempt, and at this point, our drawing group had evolved to another place, and we started doing, just one whole session of just one pose, so 4 hours of the same pose. So this was just one night. And here's, so from there, so this was my first, real exciting moment with color, and getting this purple paper, and then the blue, and then just having, the magic of piling these beautiful colors on top of each other, and that kind of thing. So I'm sorry this is blurry, but this is my other favorite model after Michael. Look at that neck. Look at those beautiful lines. And he's these professional models that we have in Los Angeles are amazing. They're all like major dancers, and this guy is an acrobatic gymnast, a world champion, and he's doing stuff for Cirque du Soleil, and then this is my my German Baroque beauty. I just imagine her being on a ceiling in Germany, and then this, it's just like, now I'm in a drawing group where we have the same pose for 3 sessions, so that's 12 hours. And it gives me a whole lot of freedom because I can do like really detailed work, then I can just goof around, and I can do whatever I want. There's so much, freedom to play.
Where is this?
Our group, it's got like 6 people right now. We meet at the brewery. And then I'm also in a new drawing group that's every other week at Copland Del Rio Gallery. And Dana wanted us to mention, what we're excited about now. That's another, like, just playing with all this color. But Copland Del Rio and Laura Schlesinger and Terry Martin, they're my favorite galleries. And I've also shown at Off Ramp, which shows, it's a whole eclectic group. This is my favorite female model. She's amazing, and she's a former, she used to play, she was an alternate for the LA Derby dolls, roller derby, and so that's my new obsession, it's roller derby. She's also one of the great LA models, Hugo Houston. And this guy, he dances for the LA Opera, and just, it's just so fun to play with color and the mark making, and this guy, this is my Marlon Brando drawing. I started out doing this one, it was like nothing went right, and then by the end of the first session, I was like, oh, I just like that the way it is. It's, fun. And so there's a nice tight painting the next 2 sessions, drawing. And then this was last month.
Was he looking at you?
Pardon?
Was he looking at you?
Yes, I was directly in front of him, and he was kind of just looking above me. And what I like about this drawing is, just it's kind of spectral in a way. But he said that this drawing really caught who he was, and I was extremely pleased about that. He's another of the great dancing models, the guy models that we have are just superb. And then this I just finished, and this guy, he's another dancer. He used to dance with Alvin Ailey, and then it turned out we both got our degrees from Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. And he's so elegant and so just, this nobility about him that I fell in love with. And he loves to do headdresses, and I just thought it worked so beautifully with, his body. And then there was like all this purple in his skin. There was this lavender and purple, and that was just lovely. Okay, and a couple of years ago, I took a Silverpoint class at the Getty Museum. With Silverpoint, you're drawing with silver in a mechanical pencil, and most people do it on paper, but I push really hard because I want it to be darker. So I moved to panel, wood, and this is like a 5x7 drawing. And so the thing about Silverpoint, it's like this beautiful gray, and it's kind of mysterious. And this is a friend of mine. Our drawing group was posing for a group photo, and it was about how when you draw, you're actually drawing blindly. It's like you're looking at the figure and then you're just drawing on the paper, but you're not looking at the figure. So I was like that's another Silverpoint, and I love Silverpoint. It's just, again, it's like lines. And you can just express so much with the line. And I'd like to make work that's really expressive and that I hope will somehow hit people. And my favorite model with one of my favorite dogs. And there's Michael, and Dumbledore was sleeping on his head. That's Hermione, and I just think her rear end is gorgeous. And this is like classic Hermione. She just roodles around in the garden. Okay, Silverpoint Self-Portrait. My drawing group, we went to the Huntington Gardens for tea time one day, and so I decided I had to put on my jewels and my Bowie wig and one of my favorite pairs of glasses. And so, I did this Silverpoint, and then I decided it really needs color. So I had some Doc Martin inks from like the 70s, and I resurrected them and threw it on there. A couple of months ago, I started drawing with crow quill pen, just teeny weeny pen and ink for the first time since high school, and it was just wonderful. So that's a nice funky self-portrait, but I'm really happy with the glasses and the eyeball. It's like a staring eyeball. And okay, last year, Gagosha Optique, which is one of the places I collect from, asked me, they were going to start showing art. And so they asked me to be like the first show, and they asked me to take pictures of their clients, which they had in stock, and just do part of the head and then do whatever I want. So I'm like not imaginative. And all of a sudden I just had this image of this. I wanted to put somebody's head on an ice cream cone. And so then I realized, the ice cream has to drip. And then I had to put the cherry in the cherry. I was like, man, those look like butt cheeks. Wow. And, I found out this guy is a gay activist blogger who is, he's now at the Iowa writing program, And I was like, the imagery is just so sexual. It's so perfect. It's so gay. And then this guy, I love this picture. And I was like, man, this is so Pulp Fiction. It's like noir. Turns out this guy, I had no idea who I was drawing at the time. It was just I liked their faces. He teaches English literature at UCLA, and his favorite literature is like pulp and noir. And, so I was like, man, psychic painter. Okay, and then last year also, this friend of mine loves these little Georgian necklaces and jewelry that was just a portrait of the eye. So this piece is like 1.5 inches by 2.25 inches. And so this was a client of hers, and I did the painting for, that. And then this is my friend, and this was one of those other moments where, like, I'm doing this like itty-bitty, teeny-weeny thing in oil on this itty-bitty canvas, and then seeing it blown up, it's like, man, this is a Turner painting. And I can't believe the perfection of the color and the lines and the technique. I am brilliant. So, every artist has to go through those moments, right? Or you can't keep going. So, I should just blow this up. I'm so pleased with myself. Okay, so we're almost at the end. This guy, I used to go down to this coffee house for a couple of years down by USC. This guy walks into the coffee house, and I was with Jane Chafin, who is the owner of Off Ramp Gallery, who I've shown with, and we were sitting there having coffee, and I took one look at this guy, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to paint him. So I ran up to him, I'm like, will you model for me? And he said, oh yeah, sure. And then we got to be friends, and he, he's got these extensions that are so pretty, and then he's a pretty boy. And so I did this, him as Zeus. And, Zeus had to have this kind of hair, don't you think? So this is sexy Jesus Josh in the Silverpoint. I mean, he's the classic, Western Jesus. Okay, this is the three graces. And so we have Josh and the coffee house guy's daughter, Brianna, and David. And he and Josh are best friends. Now, I realized, oh my God, Dave looks just like Michelangelo's David. And he just had these beautiful, structure. And he was just so graceful. And I kind of fell in love with him more than Josh. And like Josh got to be jealous as I did more Dave pictures. And this is kind of based on a David, which, David, I love his stuff. He would do these portraits, and then there'd be this huge, space on the canvas, and I really loved that. And this was just natural light coming in from, the cafe door. And this was Dave asleep, and this is like one of my very favorite Silverpoints. Again, it's just 5x7. And, it's like King David, King David asleep. Okay, recently I had to, I've spent 3 months totally cleaning my studio out and archiving everything, and I found this painting, which I'd totally forgotten about. I did this when I was 20, and it's not finished or anything, but I was like, man, look at that brushwork. Boy, was I good. At least, for myself. And, and I love the arrogant look and the, just the kind of Caravaggio-esque light. And Caravaggio is one of my favorite painters. And so I thought, I've been thinking to myself, man, I really need to loosen up. Holbein's time has come. So one day Josh announces, and I'm mad at Josh for not being here tonight. One day Josh announces to me, Linsley, I really need to expand my consciousness. I need to model nude for you. And I'm like, cool. And so this is just the beginning of a painting. I just painted it in, just the beginning, but I just love the way it looks. I wanted to show you guys. And so this is Josh as Adam. And so there's going to be like an apple on the ground, bite out. And, he's like, what the fuck? Okay, this is Josh as the thinker. And Josh has a collection of, he loves stuffed animals. So I had him bring over, we did this big session, lots of props and everything. And so this is his Murakami stuffed animal. And so then this was, the other crow quill drawing I've just done recently. So this is Josh as the thinker. And, oh man, I love crow quill. Just it's so tiny and just lines. Okay, this is Josh as St. George killing the dragon. And, I borrowed this from our neighbor kid across the street. And So I like making fun of art history. So this is, St. George. Okay, now this is Ang's odalisque. That big kind of blue nude. She's like that. And so I had Josh pose as her, and then there's this wonderful painter named Kehinde Wiley. He's a young black gay painter, and he paints all these, kind of Baroque, heroic young men, beautiful young men, and then puts these wonderful designs in the back, kind of art historical designs. And so a couple of years ago, Target came out with beach towels by like Cindy Sherman, Jeff Koons, Kehinde Wiley. So I thought it would be really fun to juxtapose Josh with Kehinde's piece. And so this is still in progress, but wanted to share. Okay, and so here we are back to rock and roll. And so I started on I just painted the canvas that blue and just started building up. And so this is probably almost finished in a way, because I just like the looseness and whatever, but I call this the orgasmatron because, rock and roll, these guys are like, that's what it is. Okay, so I just finished this painting, and again, it's making fun of rock and roll, and I'm pleased with it, and I wanted to bring more color into my paintings, so, I was having fun with, all this reflected light and his dreads. And so, okay, this is the future roller derby. And so this is a small graphite on panel of Natalie. And then this what we did in my drawing group. And we had her bring in all her roller derby stuff. And then this is the last one. This is Silverpoint on paper. And, Dara was tearing up the paper. It's like, wait, we've got to get it darker. So that's it. So thank you so much.